So we do continue with Women's Month celebrations. Now to do this, we take a look at three energetic women with a passion for cycling, running and swimming. The trio of Thuto Skweyiya, Ria, Mathopa and Tsheli Lujabe climbed the equivalent of the height of Mount Everest on smart indoor cycling trainers in a bid to raise funds on behalf of their non-profit organization, Kumukahi. Now these funds are for Bethany Home. It's a place of rehabilitation for abused women and children in Bertrams in Johannesburg. Today we're joined by Thuto and Ria to chat to us a bit about the ride they had on Women's Day. Now Thuto and Ria, good morning to you. Thank you so much for making the time to chat with us again. Thuto, I want to start off with you first. I know previously we chatted to Tsheli as well, but she couldn't do the ride on Women's Day. So just how did that go for yourself and Ria?
Morning, Nicole, and thanks again for having us. So the day started very early. We started our ride at 12:15 on Women's Day because the whole point of doing this ride was to do it on Women's Day as we support women. We climbed 8.5 times of a climb on the Zwift app called Alp de Zwift, and it took us the better part of the day, but we had great support along the way. Our family from Bafazi joined us. We had cyclists from the Embark Triathlon Club that also joined us, and it was grueling. Every climb took us, was slower and slower, but we did conquer, and eventually we managed to climb that elevation of Mount Everest, which is 8,848 meters. Unfortunately, as you mentioned, Tsheli was not able to join us, but I have no doubt that in a few weeks she'll be able to do it as well.
Congratulations on that as well, Thuto. As you mentioned, what was grueling. I mean, the equivalent of Mount Everest must be something. Ria, let's quickly move over to you. I mean, for me, this is not just Women's Month, and your event is not just another event. You have this non-profit organization, obviously, for a reason. So what exactly is your end goal, and what are you hoping to achieve in the bigger scheme of things with Kumukahi?
Good morning, Nicole. Thank you so much for having us. So the whole purpose of Kumukahi is for us to basically to use whatever little means that we've got to raise awareness on issues that are really, really close to our heart. So the Bethany Home initiative, this Everesting initiative, is actually our first initiative that we started, because we only started Kumukahi this year. So we are really still finding our feet, still trying to define who we are, still trying to find our place. But what we do know is that we want to be able to help those who are less fortunate than us. So there will definitely be more initiatives and more projects that we will be embarking on. We have registered our NPO. We've got all our ducks in a row. All we'll need to do now is to just bed down what is it that we want to achieve and basically get started, as we've already done.
So, Thuto, now that you have all your ducks in a row with your non-profit organization, tell us a bit about your working relationship with the government in trying to eradicate gender-based violence, and what kind of support do you get from the government, if any?
So, Nicole, at this stage, as Ria just mentioned, that we're fairly new. We've just recently established ourselves. We haven't at this point engaged with government. As a start, our hope was really to do our little part in our little corner to make the place just a little bit better for women and their children. But I'm sure in due course, as we, as Ria said, as we find our feet, we will begin to start engaging with government and trying to see how we can work with them, and obviously trying to get some financial support as well to engage with some of the projects that we've got on mind. Yeah.
So, Thuto, on the note of the government, let me tell you why I asked you that question. I personally don't think that they're doing enough. Women and children are obviously lucky to have the likes of your Ria, Tsheli and Thuto, who are doing the most to assist them. But we aren't doing enough in our country when it comes to gender-based violence, because we do have people out there getting 2,000 Rand bail, which is nothing. So to stay with you, Thuto, what do you think we need to do, we as in the government, to move a step in the right direction in eradicating, eventually, gender-based violence?
Look, I mean, the issue is a great one, and one that we struggle with as a country, right? But for me, I think the first step would be for government to take a greater step in ensuring that those that are apprehended, that have committed gender-based violence, do pay the price for it. And when I say pay the price, it needs to be punitive. At this stage, I think there's a lot of loopholes in the system that need to be closed out in order to send a strong message to male and female abusers out there that this is something that we will not stand for. So for me, I think that would be a first step that needs to be taken, close the gaps and institute more punitive damages.
Ria, very quickly before we go, let's quickly end on a high. When I previously spoke with Thuto and Tsheli, they had said you guys were hoping to raise at least 30,000 Rand, and of course you have exceeded that. So can you quickly tell us exactly how much you have raised and what you are planning to do with these funds to assist these women and the children at Bethany Home?
Yes, Nicole, like you said, our target was initially 30,000 rands. We are now sitting at a whopping just over 82,000 rands that we've managed to raise. So we are really, really happy about that. And we are so grateful to everybody that has actually made the donation. The money will be handed over to Bethany Home, which they will then use for their day-to-day operations to buy food, pay electricity, the maintenance of the place. And what we will also be doing as part of the handover process, we'll be running an outreach program because the donations will be welcome until the end of August. Then after that, we'll do a recon. But what we're also doing within our cycling community will be arranging some coffee rides where we'll be asking people to then bring other items for donation, like canned food, nappies, basically anything, toiletries that the ladies that will actually need and they will be able to use on a day-to-day basis. So over and above the money that we'll be handing over, we are hoping that we can then also appeal to the greater community out there to also help out with other items as well. And that's what we'll be handing over towards the first or the second week of September to Bethany Home.
Ria and Thuto, we're going to have to leave it there for now. Thank you so much for joining us again. Congratulations on that gruesome cycling that you did on Women's Day. And thank you so much for everything that you've done to raise these funds for Bethany Home. That was Thuto Skweyiya and Ria Mathopa joining us to talk about the smart indoor mountain climb they undertook to raise funds for abused women and their children.